If you are thinking about reloading, there is a lot to consider. First things first, I'm just going to give you the breakdown of why I don't reload, and I only reload real expensive calibers, or if I'm going to make marksman ammo. First off, with pistol, your semi-automatic pistol, it head spaces off this rim. So if you put on too much of a crimp, it goes past your head spacing point, and then you get a bunch of light primer strikes. If you put on too loose of a crimp, then your bullet goes into the casing and you'll have feeding issues. It's kind of a balance. It's a little bit hard to figure out. So on semi-auto pistols, I don't reload. Now you got your rifles. If the cartridge does not cost over $1 a round, it's not worth reloading. Like 5.56, don't even waste your time reloading. You will be able to buy more ammunition working like a minimum wage job than you could by reloading ammunition. That's taking the hours you would have worked on reloading the ammo to what you would have got paid at a minimum wage job. You'll come out on top just buying your ammo. Now, if it's over $1 a cartridge, then things are a little bit different. Shotgun ammo. Don't waste your time on reloading that either. Now, don't go to Walmart and buy that 100 pack for $20 with the silver base. They look like this right here. Those don't feed out of a shotgun. I don't even know why they're on the shelf. I've never been able to get them to successfully feed out of basically anything. Even a pump action, the pump gets stuck and you got to really jam it. Buy the more expensive ones, the $30 ones. I believe they're made by Remington. It's like the next step up. Those will work perfectly fine. Now you're probably thinking, well, if I reload shotgun ammo, then I can make these special cartridges that do special things. I promise you, I've already been down this road. I've tested dimes. I've tested flechettes. I even was like, one day I'm like, hey, you know, instead of running lead balls, what if I ran steel ball bearings, because then I could pierce body armor? But at that time, I didn't know that velocity pierces body armor, not the projectile. Yes, having a hard projectile helps, most definitely, but you still need the velocity. And when you put in steel ball bearings, they have a tendency to ricochet. I got pelted right in the side of the leg with one. I had the most wicked bruise forever. And I even went to the size of the ball that was just small enough to be able to roll down my barrel without damage. Still, I could not touch armor. Flechettes, I couldn't get the velocity to be able to penetrate armor. I even went as far as throwing a double charge in there. Because the flechettes are so light, I was able to get away with it. But still, that was not enough power to accelerate them fast enough to do anything significant. Plus, they spread like crazy. And with steel shot, like say you run steel ball bearings or a steel ball, if you don't have a chrome lined barrel, your barrel material is softer than the ball bearing, so it carves out your barrel. Even using a wad, because the friction cuts away the wad, so you'll have little holes poked in your wad, and it'll just carve out your barrel. Not good at all. The best thing you can possibly run in a shotgun is a slug or buckshot, and if you're on my mindset, anything past 50 yards, if I have the opportunity, I'll go with a rifle, because with a rifle, because of the shotgun's recoil, I can put more kinetic energy downrange faster. So once I get past buckshot range, I really don't see a point to go with the slug. Now obviously in Wisconsin we can only hunt with slugs, so I'm forced to use slugs, but otherwise I would never feed my shotguns anything at all but buckshot. Rifle cartridges, yes. Now you're starting to look at reasons to reload. Oh, I almost forgot on shotguns. I even tried they call them swaged rounds. They kind of look like a little balloon. You can put black powder in there and put a 209 primer on it. I don't understand why that's so desirable, because I tried them, and it's basically like, because of the low amount of charge you can put in there, it's more or less like an M80 detonating in front of the person you just shot with a slug. I mean, they got shot with a slug. I promise you, they're not going to care about a little, it's basically a noisemaker. Little flash, puff of smoke. Nothing really to gain there. Now, if I could pack that swage slug with TNT, that would be a different story. Especially if I can make that swage slug out of copper and pass it pack it with TNT, because then I basically have like kind of a mini RPG. But I'm pretty sure if I were to go in my garage and whip up some TNT, I'd be breaking some federal laws. Now, if I'm wrong about this and I can go in my garage and make TNT legally, prove it somehow in the comments, because then I'll revisit the swage slugs and then maybe there'll be some value in it. But otherwise, an exploding round with the charges we can legally pack in there, there's just nothing there. It's not worth your time. It's a waste of money. Stick with buckshot or slugs. I recommend sticking with buckshot. Now for precision rifle ammo, you can make some sweet loads. I'm talking sweet. What you do is a ladder test. You figure out your barrel's harmonics. You time your bullet so it's flying out your barrel at the exact right time. You can cut your rifle's accuracy in half. In a good way, like 2 to 1 or 1 to 0.5, not 1 to 2. Because I just replayed that in my head and it could have been taken either way. But anyway, then it's worth it. But you got to be spending more than $1 a cartridge, or it's got to be super rare. Another cartridge I recommend reloading is Revolvers. Because it hangs onto all your brass, you're cutting down the time of picking up your brass. Just buying a bullet, primer, and powder. You don't have to worry about the crimp. If anything, just crimp it a little bit more just to be safe, because the head spaces off the rim. Very super easy cartridge to reload. Same with big rifles like 308, stuff like that. Very easy to reload. Now let me break it down to what I'm talking about working minimum wage. To the whiteboard of knowledge! Alright, so I'm going to go off 45 APC because these are, or 45 ACP because these are the numbers I'm actually familiar with, and we're going to be going off a 500 round count. Now, I'm giving the best possible scenario to the reloaders. We're going to pretend you don't have to buy your brass. We're going to pretend you don't have to buy any of your equipment. All you have to do is buy materials. So if I wanted to just go out and purchase 45 AP, I don't know why I always mess that up, ACP, it's going to run me between $150 to $300, depending on what I want. Now we're talking about target ammo, not self-defense ammo. So we'll cut the difference, we'll call it $225. So what would I need to work at a minimum wage job to achieve $225? And again, most of us work better than minimum wage jobs, so this gets way worse if you're making more than $7.50 an hour. So at a minimum wage job, we're making $7.50 an hour. I have to work 30 hours to buy 500 rounds at $225. Now, I'm not including tax, but that would just make things more complicated. But you'll see by the end of this formula, there's no need to include tax because it's so lopsided. Just working a couple of extra hours and buying your ammo over reloading. So if I want to reload, I'm looking at $100 of material. Now, this is buying the bullet, the cheapest possible bullet I could find, which was about $60 for 500. Now you're probably like, well, hey, what about casting? Why don't I just cast the bullets? Okay. So by the time I collect the lead, which is either running around Walmart stealing people's wheel weights or going through the shooting range berm picking up bullets, clean the lead because you can't just throw it directly into your casting crucible. Otherwise, it'll plug everything up. You got to clean it first. So you got to put it in like a frying pan or something like that and pull out the majority of the garbage. And you got to understand, too, you can't just collect enough lead for 500 rounds because a lot of that just goes to waste. Probably like 10 or 15%. So you got to actually collect more than you would need. And then after you scoop out the garbage, then you'll have enough. So after I clean the lead, then I have to put the lead into ingots. After I put the lead into ingots, then I have to put it in my crucible. After I put it in my crucible, I have to put it into dies, and I have to cast them out. After I cast them out, I have to lube and size it. Now, you could buy that Lee's lube where you just put them all in a container and you shake it, but it doesn't work for crap. Your barrel leads out really bad. You really, really got to use like RCBS beeswax or something like that. So you either got to buy a lubricizer or you got to take your finger and you got to push the wax on each individual round, and then you got to run it through your sizer. After you run it through your sizer, now you're ready. Now this is a rough estimate, but it would cost me roughly 19 hours to cast out 500 bullets from scratch. And that's pretending I got the lead for free. That would be roughly $142 to make lead cast bullets. So clearly, it's way cheaper just to buy. Now, if I wanted to buy a good bullet, say a Hornady bullet, full metal jacket, which I totally recommend. Don't screw around with lead cast bullets. It would cost me about $105. Now, like I said, this $100 of material, that would be drastically offset. That's with a $60 bullet, just a lead cast bullet you can buy that's already lube sized. You can just plug and play. So, really, do not cast your bullets. It's a giant waste of time. Even at a minimum wage job, you're going to come out way negative if you were to just bought your bullets. You can even buy a copper jacketed bullet for the amount of time and work you would put into casting a bullet. So, okay, back to $100 material. Now you understand why it's $100. You're going to be looking at primers, powder, and this is not including brass. This is you've spent the time collecting the brass. So, all right, materials. We are looking at roughly 16 hours you've already spent at a minimum wage job. 16 hours. And it would have only costed you, where is it? I put it on here somewhere. 30 hours just to buy the ammo. So you're already halfway across the board. Now you got to clean and prime your brass. This isn't in order because I forgot to say resizing. So actually you do resizing first. On 500 pieces of brass, you're going to be looking at about 2.8 hours. You got to lube it and resize it. Now you got to clean it and prime it. Cleaning takes a really long time, but I'm just going to eliminate that calculation because you can be doing other things while you're cleaning. And you got to remember also you need to get a tumbler, you need to get brass polish, and you need to get the cleaning stuff. Usually I use crushed coconut. So cleaning, you are going to be looking at cleaning and priming about 2.7 hours. We're really getting close to the bullet here. All right, so now you got to resize your brass. Did I already cover that? Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I did. Now you got to charge the brass. There's two different ways to charge. You can go by volume or you can go by weight. I promise you, if you go by volume, you will get squibs. You need to weigh each individual charge and just decide a variant and be within there. So, we're looking at charging and putting the bullets on the actual case itself. You're looking at about 6.25 hours. Now, we got crimping all of them. You're looking at 1.39 hours. What do I got left here? Oh, and then if you actually go collect your brass, it'll take you about 3 hours to collect it all. So you're looking at 32.78 hours of work, or equivalent work in money, to make your own ammunition, where you could have just worked 30 hours and bought that same amount of ammunition, and that's middle of the road ammo. If you go cheaper, obviously it's less hours. If you include casting your own bullets, you're looking at what, 50 some hours of what the equivalents would be to make your own ammunition, where you could have just bought it in 30 hours. So that's why I'm getting at, if you're not spending over $1 a round on your pistol cartridge, I don't even know if they make a pistol cartridge that's semi-auto that's $1 a round, but then it would be worth it. Or if you're looking at a rimmed cartridge, because these are expensive, they're super easy to reload, they're fast to reload, then I recommend it. Or precision rifle, or an expensive rifle cartridge. Other than that, don't screw around with shotgun, don't screw around with semi-auto pistols. Now buy this stuff and keep it at your house for like end of the world situations so you can pound out ammo if you want. And it's kind of a cool hobby, which is sort of fun. But if you're just trying to make ammo as cheap as possible, when you figure out your labor, you're really losing bad. Just go get a second job and buy your ammo that way. Or put in a couple of hours of overtime. You'll come out on top. But anyway, thank you for watching. Like, check out any of my other videos. Click on the links up here. Don't forget to subscribe.